pues obviamente se notó que era una gran rival. La respeto mucho, pero obviamente pues se sacó la chamba en 3 días. Tengo 21 años, que llámenme cuando quieran, yo estoy lista.
Regina Tarin!
She looks like an angel but fights like a demon. The undefeated, brutal Mexican UFC fighter, Regina Tarin. In this video, you'll witness what happened when fighters looked at Regina Tarin, saw a baby-faced girl, and made the last mistake of their fight night.
Fuerte aplauso para Regina Tarin!
First was Citlalli Alcantar, her debut opponent, 0-0. She thought the nerves would show on the moment would be too big. Then Fernanda Marrufo, a professional with real experience on the biggest Latin American MMA platform in the world. Next was Gisela La Emperatriz Luna, a 9-time kickboxing champion with 36 combat sports wins. And finally, Luisa Cifuentes. She pushed Tarin past every round she'd survived professionally with a belt on the line. Welcome to Punch Club, fellas. Here we go. Fight number 1, Citlalli Alcantar, Budo Cinto Championship 19, December 1st, 2023. Gimnasio Olímpico Juan de Libera, Mexico City. The same arena where Mexican Olympic athletes have trained for generations. Tarin was 19 years old and standing inside a professional MMA cage for the very first time. 3 years of amateur competition, 3 national championships, an IMMAF silver medal. All of it had built toward this single moment. But every coach in combat sports says the same thing. Amateur fights and professional fights are completely different conversations. The money is real, the record is permanent, the pressure changes people. Citlalli Alcantar stood across from her, also making her professional debut. 0 against 0, no rankings, no record to hide behind. Just 2 women in a Mexico City cage finding out who belonged there. The bell rang. Tarin walked forward like she had been waiting her whole life for this moment. No hesitation, no feeling out period, pure controlled aggression from the very first step.
Regina wants to bring her down with the outside trip, and she gets it. And now she's on the mountain, Gisela.
This is not a style built on patience. You either have the instinct to finish or you don't. And Tarin had known which one she was since she was 13 years old. She closed the distance fast, secured the takedown, moved to a controlling ground position with the fluency of a purple belt who had drilled this exact sequence thousands of times.
Position. I like to see this debut. You know, Tarin with only 18 years old. Look, that was a nasty elbow. Now she's going for the back.
Alcantar tried to create space. Tarin gave her absolutely nothing. 2 minutes and 2 seconds, the rear naked choke locked in clean. Alcantar tap. Professional record, 1-0.
Or open the submission with punches. She did. So it didn't look like it was her debut. She looks like he had
exactly.
more experience.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I think that she was more than ready.
First finish, 19 years old. And somewhere across Mexico City, a 9-time kickboxing champion was watching highlights on her phone and had no idea what was coming for her. Fight number 2, Fernanda Marrufo, Combat Global. June 8, 2024, Univision Studios, Miami, Florida. Combat Global, the biggest Latin American MMA platform in the world, broadcasting live to over 30 million Univision viewers across the United States. This was Tarin's first fight outside Mexico, her first fight on national television, her first real chance to make an audience that didn't already know her name take notice. Fernando La Pit Marrufo stood across from her, a Mexican professional, not a debut opponent, not a soft landing. Marrufo had real experience and walked into Miami specifically to derail the hype. The cameras were rolling. The commentators were calling Tarin a fighter to watch. Over 35 million people had access to this broadcast. That kind of pressure exposes what a prospect is actually made of. Either the moment makes you or it breaks you. The bell rang and Tarin came forward with bad intentions from the very first second.
En rojo. Rojo, especialista en jiu-jitsu brasileño, pero también le gusta el boxeo, ¿eh?
Muy bien, comenzando con las patadas por parte de Fernanda Marrufo.
Sharp combinations, controlled footwork, closing distance. Marrufo tried to establish range and fire back. It didn't matter. The Mexican teenager from Bone Breakers was already deciding where this fight was going.
Por parte de Regina Tarin, pero se queda simplemente con la escopeta cargada. Ahí ahí tiene que buscar el derribo. Bien, lo conseguía ahí Regina Tarin.
She got the clinch, worked it into the ground, moved to a controlling top position with the same clinical efficiency she had shown against Alcantar 6 months earlier in Mexico City. Marrufo defended, but Tarin already hunting for the finish.
O tratar de conectar a la cabeza por parte de Fernanda Marrufo. Ahí la esquina de Fernanda Marrufo, que está César Palomera.
3 minutes and 14 seconds, rear naked choke. Marrufo tap. Combat Global debut, first round, national television, finished.
El rictus de dolor se juntó con la desesperación y ahí está, una vez más, haciendo gala de la técnica. Esta mujer que lleva 6 años entrenando artes marciales mixtas, la que se acaba de llevar la victoria.
2 fights, 2 first-round submissions, combined time on the mat 5 minutes and 16 seconds. The commentators called her a future star. The Bone Breakers coaches called it another Tuesday. But Combat Global was already on the phone with her again. And this time the woman waiting on the other end of the matchup wasn't a professional fighter. She was a 9-time champion. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 99% of you watch without subscribing. It costs you nothing but makes a huge difference to us. Thanks a lot, muchly appreciated. Now, back to the video. Fight number 3, Gisela Luna, Combat Global. On July 27, 2024, Univision Studio, Doral, Florida. Combat Global 6 weeks after submitting Marrufo Tarin was back in Miami. Same building, completely different problem standing across from her. Gisela La Emperatriz Luna, the Empress, 32 years old, 5-2 in MMA, but the MMA record doesn't tell you who she really was. Luna had been competing in combat sports since before Tarin was in middle school. 36 wins in kickboxing, 3 losses, 1 draw. A 9-time kickboxing champion who had earned 4 of her 5 MMA victories by knockouts or submissions. She walked into Miami as the most decorated striker Tarin had ever stood across from. The official Combat Global announcement described it as a featured women's flyweight battle. What it actually was the first real test of whether Regina Tarin had knockout power or just submission skills. Luna looked exactly like what she was, a veteran. Someone who had stepped into the cage and the ring against serious opposition for over a decade. She wasn't impressed by Tarin's unbeaten record. She had beaten unbeaten fighters before. She had been finishing people with her hands since before her opponent started training. She was calm. She was ready. She was dangerous. The bell rang. Tarin didn't give her a single second. She came forward like she had been launched from a cannon, closing distance immediately and denying Luna the range a 9-time kickboxing champion needs to generate power.
However, now she's had some time to fix some of the holes here, fix some of the skills, and take on Tarin. But great approach after the takedown for Tarin.
This wasn't accidental aggression. This was a calculated game plan executed from the opening second. Take away the space. Take away the weapon. Make the fight happen wherever a champion striker does not want to be.
Kickboxing and also in boxing.
And now Regina Tarin moves into mount, which is basically when you're fully on top of your opponent, but Gisela's holding on to her arms.
Tarin landed heavy. Southpaw angles, mixed levels, relentless forward pressure that made Luna work defensively in a way she had never needed to work before.
Young Phenom going all in.
She's going to have to do more than just shell up here.
Luna answered. She was a champion for a reason, but the shots coming back were not landing in the same authority. Tarin was physically imposing her will in a way that had nothing to do with grappling.
It was her bread and butter, that body lock takedown, and able to finish up with some ground and pound. That's got to be a great win, especially knowing that she had a great win against Fernanda Marrufo and coming in here and
1 minute and 55 seconds, the referee waved it off, TKO. The 9-time kickboxing champion, 36 combat sports victories, 4 MMA finishes, gone in under 2 minutes. 3 fights, 3 different methods, 3 first-round finishes, and Tarin was still only 19 years old. But finishing regional fighters and kickboxing champions is one thing. What was coming next had nothing to do with regional competition. What was coming next was a belt. A 5-round championship fight and an opponent who had prepared specifically to make her suffer for every single second, all of 25 minutes. Fight number 4. Luisa Cifuentes, Budo Cinto Championship 25, September 27, 2024. Gimnasio Juan de Libera, Mexico City, home soil, 5 rounds, a vacant championship belt, and the most dangerous opponent of Regina Tarin's young career. Luisa Cifuentes walked in at 4 wins and 0 losses, unbeaten, 5'5", a genuine championship-level fighter who had answers for every problem she had been given as a professional. This was not a Combat Global Showcase. This was not a regional filler. This was a 5-round title fight against a woman who had never been beaten. The MMA community picked Tarin at 99%. That number looks comfortable on a screen. It does not prepare you for what a full championship fight actually feels like when you've never gone past round 1 in your entire professional career. Round 1, Tarin came out the way she always comes out, forward aggressive, hunting for the finish. She landed clean shots, hard shots, and Cifuentes answered every single one.
The knees, but I saw that knee that it was good to the stomach of Regina Tarin. Now let's see the scramble. Good knee again.
This was not Alcantar, and definitely not Luna. Cifuentes stood in the fire and threw back with composure and purpose. The round was the most competitive 2 minutes of Tarin's professional life. Both fighters were marked when the horn sounded. Cifuentes was still standing. Her corner was confident. Tarin had never been in this position before. Round 2, round 3, the same war. Tarin pressed. She hunted. She threw everything she had at a woman who refused to fold.
The strategy, like Gisela said, Tarin trying to use every attack opportunity to really surprise Cifuentes.
The finish that had come in under 2 minutes against a 9-time kickboxing champion is not coming here. Cifuentes had a plan and she was executing it. The Mexico City crowd grew tense. Something they had never seen before was happening.
When I interviewed her, she said, I love that I finished the fight instead of just,
Yeah, it's true. Even with 1 second left,
yes,
it changed the whole thing.
Inside that cage, for the first time in her professional career, Regina Tarin was in a grind. Not a submission in 2 minutes, not a knockout in under 2. A real, brutal, grinding championship fight that was asking her questions she had never been asked before.
You didn't, finish me.
Yes.
Something could be wrong in your advantage of controlling.
And something could change in the 5th round.
Of course.
Did she have another gear? Round 4, Tarin came out like someone who had heard the question and decided to answer it with violence. The patience was gone. The measured approach was gone. She pressed Cifuentes hard against the cage, loaded up her punches, and started landing shots that told a completely different story from rounds 1 through 3. Heavy, purposeful, the kind of strikes that made a referee lean forward. Cifuentes had survived 3 rounds. She believed she could survive 4.
In the heart of the Colombian, but look at Regina Tarin. When she finds the space, she starts throwing bombs that end with the fight and end with the bell.
The referee stopped it at 2 minutes and 27 seconds of round 4. TKO by punches. Cifuentes 4-0 going in, unbeaten and composed, and everything a championship challenger is supposed to be, couldn't survive round 4. Tarin stood in the center of a roaring Mexican City crowd and held a belt above her head. BSC Bantamweight champion, gold around her waist. The hardest fight of her life in the rearview mirror, and in a UFC office somewhere a phone conversation was already happening about a girl from Bone Breakers MMA who had just gone to the 4th round for the first time and finished the job anyway. The call was coming. She just didn't know it would arrive so early. Regina Tarin didn't come from a carefully managed pipeline. Nobody engineered her rise. She started training at 13 in a Mexican City gym because the world felt too big and she needed something to make herself feel less small. What she built in that gym became the most dangerous thing she owns. 4 fights, 4 different opponents, 4 different methods, 4 finishes. She is 21 years old. She hasn't hit her prime. She tried out for the WWE in January 2026 because apparently the Octagon isn't the only place she plans to take over. The nickname Kill Bill is not a joke. She started this because someone made her feel small. She has been making that feeling somebody else's problem ever since. This is not trash talk. This is 8 fights of evidence. If you want to know more stories about other fighters on our channel, you've got to check this video. This is Punch Club, fellas. If y'all got any ideas, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. We'll see you in the next video. Peace out.